This video was brought to you by Audible.com. Get 2 free audiobooks with a 30-day free trial. Link in the description below. Joker is nearly as old as the Dark Knight himself. He debuted in Batman #1 in the spring of 1940 as a deranged serial killer. This was about a year after Batman's introduction in Detective Comics #27 around May of 1939. By 1954, the Comics Code Authority had been established, and the Silver Age of comics had transformed the Joker into a goofy trickster who was out for monetary gain, a lot more likely to rob a bank than to murder anyone. This very well might have been the end of the Joker's murderous personality, but in 1973's Batman #251, the Joker was once again depicted as a homicidal menace. However, this video isn't about the Joker's history. It's about Batman, the Joker, and a trolley car. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look at philosophy through fiction and maybe break down into an existential crisis. I have to be quiet. It seems that I may have attracted a supervillain of my own. He's not scary like the Joker, but trust me, he can be scary. What was that? A quick note, my friend Scott from NerdSync did a very similar video to this one, and I've tried not to retread too much of the territory he already covered. So if there's something I don't cover, then there's a very good chance that he covered it over on the NerdSync channel. So watch that video, after this one. And the rest of mine. Twice. Watch mine twice. You ever seen a short guy dressed in all black, have you? No? The Joker is no stranger to violence and murder. He's taken perhaps thousands of innocent lives. He's also killed quite a few less innocent people. For example, he murdered most of his own henchmen in Batman #663 in 2007. Among his many victims, we find Jim Gordon's second wife, Sarah Essen, who he killed in front of dozens of infant children that he'd been holding hostage in order to lure her there. He also killed Jason Todd after a particularly brutal beating, but the real truth is that Jason Todd was killed by Democratic vote. Much like Julius Caesar and the Roman Senate, we all killed him a little bit. The Joker also shot and wounded Barbara Gordon, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down. Then he proceeded to torture Jim Gordon with photos of her naked body bleeding on the floor of their family living room. Did you hear something? The Joker seems to be an extreme nihilist. He rejects religious and moral principles and believes that life is meaningless, or rather, that it has no inherent meaning except for the meaning that we make for ourselves. As he puts it, all it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy. Everything anybody ever valued or struggled for, it's all a monstrous, demented gag. And I've explored all of that in detail, card in the upper right-hand corner. However, today we're talking about utilitarianism and deontology. The point here is that every time the Joker escapes from Arkham Asylum, he maims and he kills, and then Batman catches him and locks him back up. The cycle repeats over and over. So, why doesn't Batman just kill the Joker and be done with it? Wouldn't the world be a better place? How many countless lives might be saved? And what takes priority? Doing good or just not doing wrong? Is it selfish of Batman to let the Joker live, to kill again and again just so that he can sleep at night? Both Jim Gordon and Batman have considered killing the Joker at times, so let's pro-con this whole clown murder deal. If Batman kills the Joker, then he saves the lives of everyone the Joker will ever murder in the future. He also prevents countless injuries and incalculable damage to Gotham City itself. This line of thinking is compatible with the ethical theory of utilitarianism. It states that the best action is always the one that maximizes utility, basically the well-being and happiness of living creatures. So, when presented with choices, you should always choose the one that creates the most net gain in well-being and happiness for the largest number of people while minimizing suffering as much as possible. In our example, Batman can kill just one person to save what could be thousands of lives, thereby increasing the well-being of the whole city of Gotham, except for Batman and the Joker, who would have to deal with guilt and sudden death, respectively. Batman, however, won't kill the Joker, nor will he sacrifice the lives or well-being of anyone to even capture him. The Dark Knight justifies his no-killing rule using a slippery slope argument. He believes that if he kills, then he's just as bad as the murderer that he's murderizing, and that once he crosses that line, it becomes easier to consider killing again. In short, he's afraid that if he crosses the line, he may never be able to find his way back again. Batman insists that his morality is tied directly to his own actions rather than the consequences of his actions. Killing the Joker, to him, is wrong no matter the result. This line of thinking is compatible with deontology. This approach focuses on the rightness or wrongness of the actions themselves as opposed to the rightness or wrongness of the consequences of those actions. It's a pretty standard position for superheroes to take. To Batsy, it's irrelevant that killing the Joker might save lives. Murder is wrong, and that's as far as he's concerned. This brings us to the trolley problem, and it goes something like this. You're on a trolley car headed down a track and moving too fast to stop. The trolley will hit and kill 5 people who are on the tracks. However, you do have a lever that when pulled will divert the trolley car to an alternate track, but there's one person on that track that will be killed. Assuming that you have no other options and all 6 people involved are innocent, do you pull the lever and kill one person to save 5, or do you do nothing and allow 5 people to die to save 1? The lion's share of the research for this video comes from the book Batman and Philosophy. In the first chapter, writer, editor, philosopher, and national treasure Mark D. White asked you to imagine that the person pulling the lever is Batman. Knowing what we know about Bruce Wayne, what option would he choose? Admittedly, Batman is known for finding another way, but if forced to make a choice, what do you think it would do? The trolley problem was first introduced by Philippe Foote, but Judith Jarvis Thompson later elaborated on the idea, and she took the middle of the road here. Bruce is not required to pull the lever and save more lives, but if he chooses to do so, then he's justified, maybe even encouraged in that decision. This approach takes both utilitarianism and deontology into account. However, if his view of ethics, or perhaps more importantly his conscience, won't let him take one life to save 5, then that is an acceptable position. The most interesting point here is that the right thing to do and the moral thing to do may not always be the same thing. Most people agree that killing one person to save 5 is hypothetically the right thing to do in this one particular situation. Still, killing of any kind is an immoral act, just one that maybe could be excused in this situation? Question mark? Thompson also compared the trolley situation to a doctor with 5 patients, each one dying due to the failure of a different transplantable organ. White reimagined this hypothetical doctor as Dr. Hush to work it into his Batman motif. I'll do the same, however, I just finished reading Injustice: Gods Among Us, so I know that at least in one alternate reality, the Joker knows his way around an operating room, so we'll use him. Would it be okay for Dr. J to drug his nurse, who is, of course, Harley Quinn, and transplant her organs into his patients? He would be saving 5 lives at the cost of just 1. We all know that it's immoral, but is it the right thing to do? Most people would say no, even though the circumstances are similar to the trolley thought experiment. To add my very own twist, here's something the Joker might actually do. What if he opened up all 5 patients and removed the offending organs, then opened up Harley Quinn and took out her organs too? That's right, the Joker and Harley Quinn are not #relationship goals. The Joker is an abuser and Quinn is his victim. Say no to clown love. So now we have a choice, right? We can have our ethical replacement doctor put the organs back in Miss Quinn, but she may die after having 5 organs removed. On the other hand, the 5 innocent patients that need the organs could have a better chance of living. Do we save 5 people's lives at the cost of 1 who would probably die anyway, or do we return the organs to their rightful owners and hope for the best? Furthermore, what if we stop assuming that these people are morally equal? What if the 5 people were serial killers while the 1 person was a normal, everyday, nice person? We'll call him, off the top of my head, totally made up name, Scott Nicewonder. These classic trolley-style problems are presented to us through stories about the Joker all the time. He wants us to know that our morals, values, and beliefs are totally baseless. He wants to show what people are truly like compared to how they present themselves, and he wants to prove that, deep down, most people are just like him. All it takes is 1 bad day. But most of all, he wants to watch the world burn. Okay, you can have your Xbox back, jeez.
Thanks, Dad.